And what's up everyone, Thunderbob here, and tonight I am playing some more Diablo 2 Resurrected. Specifically, I'm playing some single player. This is a character that I've put together, kind of testing out what an eventual character I want to make, kind of the end goal for it is. This is a Zealot slash Smiter. Originally I was thinking about making like a battle Blessed Hammer Paladin, but there's so many of them, and I just don't enjoy the Blessed Hammer gameplay as much. I think I'm going to actually go with a Zealot. I've also found a number of items already for this character on Battle.net. I've already found a Herald of the Zecharium. I've already found a couple of key pieces. I don't have everything. Obviously, I haven't found a Grief yet, but this is kind of the end goal for this build. And what I'm thinking about doing is basically primarily a Zealot with like 1 point Smite, and the basic build is like this. You max Fanaticism, 1 point, all the way going down, and then you max this. This is kind of one of your first points you'd max out when you can. Sacrifice and Zeal. Sacrifice is the synergy for Zeal. Put 1 point in Vengeance. This is to test out how good it is for killing my physical immunities, because there's not much else that will deal with them on this character. You get your prerequisites. You max out Holy Shield, and then usually the last thing you'd max out is Smite. So like I'd get to about 80, and I'd have 1 point in Smite, and from there you'd put any remaining points probably in Smite. This actually doesn't add that much damage to your Smite, and for dealing with Ubers, from what I've understood, you don't necessarily need to max it. Gear is much more important, getting lots of crushing blow. Even just with 1 point, you get that uninterruptible, like, never missing attack, which is really why you use Smite. Otherwise, when I'm just killing monsters, I'm going to be using Zeal. You put enough strength for your gear. You put enough dexterity for max block, which I've got 75%, and I forgot to put my points into vitality. So I've got all my health here. For gear, I've got Grief. I've got Guillaume's Face for the crushing blow. High Lord's Wrath, the Deadly Strike for my Zeal. Fortitude, this doesn't really help Smite, but it gives my Zeal a fair bit of a damage bump. An upgraded Herald, I've already found one, I haven't upgraded it yet, but that would be the end goal probably. Gore Riders, just all around great, plus the Crushing Blow for Smite. I needed some Mana Steel. Obviously a dual Leech Ring is pretty ridiculous. I don't know that I'll ever find that, but I needed some Mana Steel, and this is all I had on my characters. Dungos, just all around pretty good. Ravenfrost, Draculas. This is kind of critical for Smite and for killing Ubers. Life Tap is how you stay alive, basically. So you want that Life Tap available on the trade. Call to Arms and Spirit, just to max out your battle orders. I'm going to try to get some keys and organs together to do Ubers, but I kind of wanted to see how this runs through Worldstone Keep. I don't have Enigma, so I'm not going to be teleporting. I'm actually going to have to fight my way through. So we're going to see how effective that is. Yeah. And this is with a pretty ridiculous level of gear. I don't even have Fanta on right there. I just love charging around. Yeah, with Fanaticism, it's pretty ridiculous. I'm curious what will happen when I run into my first physical immunities. But pretty much anything that's not is just getting ripped apart. And this is pretty close to the top gear. There's like some rares maybe. There's a couple of things that I think are more choices. But this is pretty high-end gear for a Zealot. And the main reason I decided to go with like a hybrid instead of pure Smite is Smite is really only great for Ubers. It's amazing for boss killing, but it's like boring as hell outside of that. And I want to start a new character. Me and my friend are going to start characters together and like exclusively play together. I'll probably have the first part of that up this weekend. And the whole point is like, so we don't outlevel or outrange each other, or we can just play together. So this character is probably going to take me, a couple of weeks, maybe a month or more to build up, but we'll get there. If you want to check that out, I'll have a link for it. Should have it below probably this weekend. And I'm going to have a lot more fun leveling and playing with Zeal than I would with just a Smite build. And then Blessed Hammer, I really haven't found much gear for it. Like, I've got Spirit, I could hand it over. But beyond that, Spirit and the Herald of Zakarum, I don't have much. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards Zeal 2. And also, there's just so many Zealers, or there's so many Blessed Hammer Paladins out there right now. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, every single game is just Blessed Hammer Paladins. And I've already got a pretty decent Sorceress put together for farming. So, like, I don't necessarily need another character, you know, who is great for just farming. I'm looking for someone who actually can take on Ubers for me. So this will be a fun character, and then when I get him up to level and geared up, I should be able to take on Ubers. Okay, there's a physical immune. So let's throw out Vengeance. Yeah, Vengeance does okay. I don't know why I'm grabbing that, because this is a hacked single-player character that I really... For single-player, I'm basically just using this as a test bed for, like, the builds I want to make. Yeah, that's a little slower. Oh, I ran out of mana, that's why. Wasn't leeching anything. Vengeance. Yeah, Vengeance does okay. I'm kind of playing around with different options. If I get the gear for it, another thing I'd like to transition this to is maybe a Tesladin. I really enjoyed playing with one previously. It's just this gear is ridiculous. The Tesladin is even more ridiculous, needing multiple high rune. Man, that is a lot of soul killers. That's kind of ridiculous. My mercenary is doing great though with that life tap. He's enjoying life right now. What was I saying? Just lost my train of thought. But basically this character is all based around, you know, Ubers in the end game and having fun getting there, playing with my buddy. And we'll see how it goes. I know melee in general is a little bit harder to be successful at, but I think I've got a pretty good gear base to get me through hell. But we'll see. If it falls apart, maybe I'll transition to a different build. And oh, that was what I was getting at. Tesladin. Very expensive, but a very fun build. And that might be something I would transition to. I think actually Tesladin is probably better than a Zealot. But again, very, very high-end gear required, and very, very specific setup. So we'll see. If I can get it put together, I might transition that way. It was hard finding some mana steal on this character, actually. That's one thing I'm going to have to worry about, is Zeal's not super expensive, but if you run out of mana, you're kind of dead on Ubers. So that's where that Leech Ring came into play. I'm definitely going to have a decent Leech Ring. And I really haven't tried out Smite yet. It's mostly just for bosses, but yeah, it works just fine. Yeah, I didn't check my breakpoints, but I've got quite a bit of plus speed, and this is a Grief in a Phase Blade, which can't get much faster than that. And this is kind of where, like, a Hammered In has the advantage when you got lots of targets on the screen. Like, Zeal literally has to run up, and the Zealot literally has to run up and fight them individually. So when you get completely overwhelmed, like, this isn't a character I would take into Hell Cows or something. But I think it does reasonably well. for not having teleport. You know, with charge and like, I would probably drop Smite to 1 point and go down to Vigor, Redemption, Meditation. These are all kind of like good 1 point skills to have. Even putting some points into Resist Fire can help with the, it gives you some hard points. For every, I think it's 2 hard points you put into it, you get +1 to your max resist. So like, you don't have to max Smite. You get the benefit of it at 1 point. So you could always, you know, come over here and put some points in Resist Fire or Resist Lightning. Those are kind of critical masteries, critical resists to have. You know, having Vigor just for that attack speed is pretty nice. I have, like, no fear right now having 70, 70, 80 resists. I really wish they showed some of that hidden stuff, like the Resist Fire. There's nothing on here that shows you, but if you put 2 points in here... let's see. See, my max just went up to 76. Yeah, that's something I think they should make more clear in the UI. I'm gonna see if I can get some keys and organs together to actually run, cows, or to run Ubers on this character. And I'll be posting videos of my actual playthrough on Battle.net, putting this character together. I'm gonna play exclusively with a buddy of mine. I've done some videos with him in the past. He's an old school player like me, though he has not played quite as much as I have, but... Alright, let's try Smite here. Yeah. Like, no danger whatsoever. You can't miss. You get tons of health on every attack. With light tap. Yeah. It's a fun build. This, again, is pretty ridiculous gear. I'm going to be starting that new character and posting probably once or twice a week on it, so you'll see, like, lower level gear and how to, like, build this from scratch is my intent. But this is, like, the goal, I think, for the character, or pretty close to it. Grief is probably the best weapon for both Smite and for Zeal. HOZ is arguably the best, like Exile is pretty awesome as well. I didn't even put up battle orders. Yeah, I didn't really need it. Gore Riders, a couple different belts you could probably pick from, but Dracul is really necessary for Smite to work on Ubers. You want Crushing Blow, so Gore Riders, Yums. You could do something like Goblin Toe for a cheaper alternative, which I actually found Goblin Toe. Which is probably what I'll be using to start with on Battle.net until I get some Gore Riders. That's one of the pieces I still need to get. But overall, it's a really fun build. Is it as good as Blessed Hammer? Probably not, but it's something a little different. And that's what I'm going to go for. I'm not going to go and cookie cutter on all of my builds. If you got any thoughts on this, if anywhere I could optimize this or change out gear, please do let me know. And if you like this video, consider checking out some of my other content. I've got a ton of Diablo-related content and a ton of content for new and unreleased games, virtual reality, retro stuff. Yeah, all over the place. And if you like it, think about subscribing. I would appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, everyone. You have a good night.